Hey there, folks. Imagine theory at the top of your game. The whole room's clapping for you. Champagne's flowing. And then your own husband leans in, his breath hot against your ear, and whispers, "You're nothing, Sarah. This is the last night you'll ever shine." That's where Sarah Miller's story starts, right in the gut punch of betrayal, at a party meant to celebrate her big break. I'm going to take you through her story, raw and real, like I'm sitting across from you at a coffee shop, because this night's a wild ride, and it's going to make you feel something. Sarah's a marketing whiz in a small city called Riverton, the kind of place where everyone knows your business, but nobody really knows you. She'd been grinding for years, late nights, early mornings, building campaigns that had her boss singing her praises. That night, at the Riverton Grand Hotel, her colleagues threw her a party for landing the VP of Marketing gig, her dream job, her crown. She stood there in a sleek black dress, smiling, shaking hands, feeling like she'd finally made it. But her husband, Jack, he wasn't clapping. He was lurking, a glass of bourbon in his hand, his eyes sharp like knives. Jack was the kind of guy who walked into a room and expected it to bowl money. Old name. The Miller family practically owned half of Riverton's real estate. And Sarah? To him, she was just the small-town girl who got lucky marrying up. At home, it was worse. Jack's words cut deep, every day, like a slow drip of poison. "You think you're special, Sarah? You're just a secretary who got a fancy title. Without me, you're nobody." She'd stand at the kitchen counter, packing her bag for work, swallowing her tears, trying to keep the peace. But that night, at the party, he took it to another level. As the crowd cheered, he leaned in close. His arm around her waist looked sweet to everyone else, but his grip was a vice. "They're all laughing at you," he hissed. "You're a joke, Sarah, and I'm going to make sure you know it." Then, quick as a snake, he slipped something into her champagne, a faint powder dissolving into the bubbles. "Drink up," he whispered. "It's the last toast you'll ever make." Sarah's heart stopped. She saw it, the flicker of his fingers, the smirk on his face. The room spun, not from the drink she hadn't touched it, but from the realization that the man she'd loved for 10 years wanted her gone. Not just humiliated, not just broken, gone. Her hand trembled, but her mind was sharp. When Jack turned to charm the crowd, she switched their glasses, smooth, silent, like she'd been practicing for this moment her whole life. The host called for a toast. "To Sarah Miller, our new VP." Glasses clinked, and Jack, grinning like he'd already won, drank deep. Seconds later, his face twisted, his hand shook, and his glass shattered on the floor. Gasps ripped through the room. People rushed to him as he collapsed, clutching his throat. Sarah stood there, her own glass untouched, watching the chaos unfold, her heart pounding so loud she thought it had burst. The days that followed were hell. Riverton turned on her like a pack of wolves. Her office, the place she'd poured her soul into, suspended her. "It's just perception, Sarah," her boss, Mr. Carter, said, his voice heavy with pity. "You didn't drink that night, and people noticed." Her coworkers, folks she'd mentored, avoided her like she was a ghost. Then her sister, Lily, called, her voice shaky. "Sarah, the news, the neighbor's theory saying you poisoned him. Mom doesn't even want to be seen with you," Sarah begged. "Lily, you know me. I'd never," but Lily's silence cut deeper than words. "I can't get involved," she said, and hung up. Alone in her apartment, Sarah felt the walls closing in, the cushions still smelling of Jack's cologne, the TV flickering with headlines calling her a monster. Then came Vanessa, Jack's mistress, stepping out of a sleek black car one night, all sharp cheekbones and sharper words. "Sarah Miller," she said, smirking, "Jack never loved you. You were just a stepping stone. I'm pregnant, and he's mine now." Sarah's grocery bag tore in her hands, her world crumbling again. Vanessa's words were a blade, but they lit a fire too. Sarah wasn't done. She went back to Jack's laptop, the one he always kept locked, and typed in his birthday careless, just like him. What she found made her blood run cold. Emails to Vanessa, bank transfers, a plan. "After tonight, she'll be out of the way," he'd written. "We'll start fresh." And then, buried in a folder marked private, an audio file. Jack's voice, cocky and clear. "I'll slip it in her glass. Make her look like the jealous wife who snapped. The police will eat it up." Sarah played it again and again, her hands shaking, not with fear anymore, but with fury. This was her lifeline. Jack's mother, Margaret, invited Sarah to a family dinner at their sprawling estatia trap, not a meal. Margaret was Riverton's queen bee, all pearls and venom, and she'd already decided Sarah was guilty. The dining room glittered with chandeliers, packed with Jack's relatives, business partners, and Vanessa, lurking in a red dress. Jack sat in a wheelchair, pale but smirking, ready to play the victim. Margaret's voice dripped with fake sweetness. "Sarah, we just want to clear the air." Jack chimed in, his voice weak but vicious. "She poisoned me, tried to take everything." The room leaned in, ready to condemn her. But Sarah was done playing their game. She pulled out her phone, tapped play, and Jack's voice filled the room like a gunshot. "I'll slip it in her glass."